turquoise and greens, and Giovanni will show you the base of the syllab on how to read it, and then we can go through all the colors, all the new 20 colors. Okay,
Just before we start, maybe Gio, we can. It's just good to mention to our friends here, in case they're wondering where's John.
Okay.
John and Catherine are now in Asia, and we're just so excited to receive both. They are in their first stop in Asia, that's Malaysia. So we will have like a number of events there. John will be sharing what he loves most. If you want to follow and check out John's activities and want to be inspired by wherever they go, just follow us at Facebook, our Facebook page. That's Daniel Smith's Artist Materials, and you get to see regular updates there. From Malaysia, we will go to Vietnam. From Vietnam, go to Philippines. From Philippines to Singapore. That covers Asia trip, and they'll be back to base. Okay, over to you, Gio.
Okay, thank you, Ethel. Thank you to all. And this is a list of the color of this session, starting with phthalo turquoise, ultramarine turquoise, cobalt turquoise, is lunar blue, cobalt green pale, is viridian, phthalo green blue shade, cascade green, cobalt green, spring green, and permanent green light, phthalo yellow green, permanent green, phthalo green yellow shade, hooker's green, sap green, chromium green oxide, terbert, deep sap green, and perlin green. This is all the color that another brand ambassador showed in a beautiful swatch today. And for the syllab, I explain this scheme for the better comprehension is starting. This is a sphere from the syllab, and the center with L value. L is a white, 0 is a gray, and the L indicated the light and dark value. On the left side, the minus A is
A negative.
A negative is in green, and
A
the
positive.
A positive plus 1 in the color is red, and yellow B positive B, sorry, is tend to warm, and yellow is minus B negative is in blue. This is a warm zone and cool zone, green zone and red zone. This is the scheme of syllab. Now I check it in the this scheme is in a study of color.
In the resource color charts, you will find this one.
The study of color. This is explained in this scheme. And when I apply, for example, last Zoom, why the 3D mode? The 3D mode used in this case scheme. And now I show it the color of the 20 color in the syllab. This is a color chart.
Color map.
Okay.
You find the color map.
Gio? Just to let everybody know, the other way to access the interactive color map is by going through the community.
Yep.
And then go to weekly live demos and hit John's resources. So it's there very first. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
And today is a
as you see, all the greens are on the left side of the diagram.
Okay. Starting for
we can take from the family turquoise and green for today, and then we pick X. Then
This
we
is
put here.
of the color, for example, the measure color is on the warm zone greener. For example, this is a green gold.
If I click
Phthalo yellow green, for example, I had to compare with another blue phthalo turquoise. I did compare and
and then I
compare
compare.
with dust. Is, for example, medium staining for phthalo yellow green and phthalo turquoise high staining. All the same is transparent, and the phthalo yellow green is very good light fastener, and the phthalo turquoise excellent light fastener. And in the end of the line is all the value, L value, and the position in the color sphere.
Come back.
I come back and show in 3D mode. I check. Wait a second. Okay, this is all. This is this touch for the stop rotation and start rotation. Stopping. And searching the color. Stop. For example, I select the green with family and select the coolest. Is only one, the coolest. Is Prussian green. And the cool no color, and the warm. This is all the color. And I compare two of this selection. For example, the first three turquoise, phthalo turquoise, ultramarine turquoise, and cobalt turquoise. Stelo turquoise, ultramarine turquoise.
Devo vedere qua, aspetta, tutti quanti.
Ai suoi colori proprio. Ultramarine turquoise and cobalt turquoise.
Cascade, Prussian.
Single pigment color and search the color.
Cobalt turquoise.
Ultramarine turquoise.
Ultramarine. Poi vale?
Phthalo turquoise.
Lo trovo. Blue turquoise, no.
Okay, I had compared these two colors. Okay, share it to compare. For example, in this case, the cobalt turquoise is no staining, and the phthalo blue turquoise high staining. The first cobalt turquoise is granulating, and phthalo blue turquoise non-granulating. Cobalt turquoise is semi-transparent, and phthalo blue turquoise is transparent. Same boat is excellent light fastness, and the value is very, very change. This is a perfect tool for this study color. Thank you, Ethel.
Thank you, Gio. I think by now our friends in Zoom and Facebook could follow that one of the best features of our interactive color map is the convenience to compare colors. From our live sessions and customer service questions, this is actually one of the commonly asked questions. What's the difference between this color and that color? So we hope that by now you get a feel already that you can actually do it yourself up on our interactive color map. So moving on, it's always good to see how the colors perform um, as artists, brand ambassadors, and artist friends help us with the swatches. Today we have Rick from USA, and then we also have George from Greece. Of course, we have Carrie from USA and Ashley from US as well, and Gabriel who will help us with a few more colors. So whenever you're ready, Rick will do the first set of 5 colors. I think some of these are his favorites. Oops. I think the camera, Rick, is we can if we could flip it outside the other way around.
Okay, let's see how do I need to do that?
Okay, we can put Gio's this one first. He was actually okay. Was it okay earlier, Gio? I know you have the control to switch. Or while Rick does checks this part, we can move on to Carrie first. Oh, who's in my next list? Carrie. Is it okay, Rick? We come back to you?
Yes. Oh, please, absolutely.
Okay. And then Carrie, shall we move on to you first? Carrie. Okay, Carrie's spotlighted. Okay.
Hello.
Hey.
All right. Hi, everybody. So I love the greens, and I've done several paintings just with greens. I'm going to show one of those in a minute. So I had 5 colors today, and then I swiped one because I'm doing a little painting. So Rick's going to talk about deep sap green as well, but I wanted to have a dark for the demo that I'm going to show you today. So I have sap green over here, which great color. You should all have that color in your palette. I think everybody should have that one. I did note over here the light fastness, so it has an excellent light fastness. The staining is a 3, so that's like a medium staining, and then it's granulating and it's transparent. So I did note on my chart just for my notes. Then I have phthalo yellow green, another fantastic bright color. It's excellent light fastness. 3 staining, and then it's non-granulating and I like the non-granulatings, and this is transparent as well. I think everything except for this one is a semi-transparent today. So here's phthalo green yellow shade, excellent light fastness. Again, it's more staining, it's a 4. It's non-granulating and it is transparent. And then our permanent green light, which is slightly greener, you know, it's that same vibrancy, I think, as the phthalo yellow green, but a little cooler. And this is excellent light fastness. Again, it's a semi, you know, it stains, but not too bad, non-granulating and a semi-transparent. Then we have Viridian over here, excellent light fastness. It's a 1 on the staining, so not super staining. It does granulate and it's a transparent. This one takes a little bit of time. We talk about waking up the colors a little bit. That I make my own pans, and that one takes a little bit of time to activate. Some of the other ones are a little easier to activate, but it's such a gorgeous color. So it might be one that you would want to put fresh paint out of a tube. I tend to use the dried pans all the time, and I make them in these little containers. So that's what those are. If you've been following along, I've been doing the color chart. I can't tell you how great these color charts have been for me, because I've never actually taken the time to do, I've swatched my colors, but I've never taken the time to really go through and study like we're doing. And so I just finished a painting and I wanted completely transparent colors in it. And it just helped tremendously to be able to just go grab this, you know, for my own notes. So I got them all over here, all 20 that we're doing today. And then here's some swatches. I think I got most of the color combinations. Look how beautiful
So pretty.
Greens are. Aren't they pretty?
Mm.
So I kind of just went down the chart in order and started with sap green and then mixed it with the colors. So you kind of get most of the colors, but so pretty and vibrant, and they show up really well on the camera. So that's great, because not all the colors show up as well on the camera. But I'm going to show you today one of my paintings. This is a print off of a painting called Going Green.
Wow.
That I've done, and it has just about all these colors in it. And so I wanted to show that, and I mixed it with a complement, and just makes those greens pop when you can throw in a complement to the greens. And I have it scattered. I call it confetti colors when you have it here and there throughout. And I always try to have that in odd numbers because it's more interesting. Your composition should be in odd numbers, and your complementary colors that you sprinkle in there. And then I'm going to demo on this while you guys are talking to everybody. come back and forth. I'm gonna one of the bottles inside of here of this painting. So I'll be doing that while you talk to everyone else and can check back in periodically.
Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you, Ethel.
And then we'll have Rick. Ready, Rick?
Is that working?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Well, listen, I love working with these greens. I chose the Cascade Green, Deep Sap Green, Hooker's Green, Lunar Blue, and Perylene Green. And to prepare for my painting today, I created the colors and I used the brush like this as a guide just for fun. And this way I see how the colors are different as they're actually painted on the paper. And I've got it written here. So this will be my guide to go by. And this is a painting I did prior to today using all of the different greens that I'm working with. And it's wonderful how they just work together. And now I do use a little white here and there, but with this piece, I wanted to show that first because I'm going to start a piece like this. This is a watercolor I did some time ago, but I'm using the same structure here because what I want to do is use the values and reference the different color greens here. I've started with the Lunar Blue. I mixed a little here on the side. And I'm going to begin actually not real heavy, but more lightly painted. And I've got the masking here, so I want to make sure that I do not cut into the white of the roof. And I have masked out some trees. And I really love the way when I use a lot of water with the pigment, I really love the way the paint just flows nicely. And of course, this will dry much lighter. And as that's drying, I will now go into and use a little bit of the Perylene Green just to lay it in to give it just a different value and a slightly different color. And this will be the feeling of trees, but I just love how these colors blend so beautifully well together. And as I continue to do this, I'll just let the painting sort of show me what I need to do and where I need to apply the paint. And I'm using this nice size 18 brush. And as I said, I'm going to just lay in some washes to begin with. And this is the Cascade Green. So if you want to move to another artist, and I'll just keep working and report back. Okay, Ethel, you want to go to another artist now?
Yeah. I thought your mic was off. A couple of seconds, couldn't tell whether you were trying to say
wondering
something.
myself.
Okay, thanks for that, Rick. Of course, we can come back. We'll go
Okay.
back to Carrie's and then Rick's. But now we have George. George's gonna do Taylor Turquoise, Cobalt Turquoise, Perylene Green, Cascade and Lunar, if he wants those two included as well. Ready, George?
Yes, why not? Hi, everybody. So these are some of my favorite colors, and I can explain why. I love, first of all, I think most people know that I love Cascade Green because of its versatility, and one color gives me so many shades and I can use it in so many things. I love the fact that when used wet in wet, it diffuses into at least three colors, three shades. I just love that. And then cobalt turquoise, I love it because it is a transparent color that I use often in my skies. But I like the fact that it has some nice, not so, shouting granulation. It is delicate granulation that it is just enough for my skies, sometimes for my landscapes, and definitely when I paint some of my rusty material and textures and things like that, cobalt turquoise is fantastic. Phthalo turquoise is, well, it is one of the strongest color. It's a dominant color. One should use it with care because it tends to dominate the whole thing. It can ruin a painting if used in full strength. But on the other hand, it's so good because you can do so many things with it. Dilute it, use it in full strength, depending on what you are after. Perylene green, well, it is almost a dark color. And I use it in my greens, but I also use it along with some warmer colors to mix my darks. So instead of using black, in several cases, I use perylene green, and I totally suggest it. It's a very, very strong and nice color. And then what about lunar blue? I like it a lot along with lunar black because of their granulation. On the other hand, I can say that lunar blue has the additional advantage that it gives some beautiful phthalo colors when used again wet in wet. So it is granulating, it is excellent for textures, and look how these lights come through. I just love that. It's some kind of giving a beautiful contrast within the area where it is applied. So here are the three colors that the five colors that I use today. And I did a couple of sketches today to show what I would like to, how I like to use these colors. And you can see that, well, I have no yellow, but yet Cascade Green gives me the opportunity to have some yellow because it diffuses into blue and yellowish colors. And of course you have the green. So that's why I'm really in love with this color. And in the sky, you see that I use phthalo blue and a little bit of turquoise. And from then on, you can go darker and darker. Actually, it's not the colors in most of the cases that I care about, it is the values. So this is an interpretation of a church in Santorini, where I go and I have every year my summer workshops. And actually, it is not exactly like that, but I always like to interpret, to give my own version of what I see. Even when I paint plein air, I do my sketch and then I turn around and I do my own thing. And another, more abstract or direct sketch of a couple of trees and a simple landscape. So here I'm going to do a very, very small sketch once again. I already laid a very, very light sky using just, I probably only tinted the sky with phthalo blue, turquoise, and cobalt turquoise. And then, my whole idea and process depends on contrasts and values all over. and I call it the chessboard effect. So what I need to do is create enough contrast so that one area pops out in front of another. So let's add some water to the mountain at the back and get, first of all, I'm getting some Cascade green. I always mix on the paper, so I'm adding now some phthalo, turquoise, now just water. I must start thinking about the next areas, so this is important when painting, perhaps even more important than the actual colors. So if I want to bring some interest to this area, then that should become darker here already from this moment, maybe a lot darker later. Let's have some nice granulation. So I'm adding and repeating colors all over. So I'm adding some phthalo turquoise and bringing the colors downwards to suggest, as I have some kind of mountains and rocks, I should suggest in this simple vignette the height like that. So for the moment, I am okay with this area. It should be transparent. Later on, I can decide on how darker I want it to be, but it's important to go step by step, and it's important to start transparent instead of trying to catch up later and recreate the lighter colors. So I will be going around, and I think it's a good idea to move to another painter again so that we all take a round and then we
Perfect,
catch up later.
George. Thank you.
Thank you, George.
And
Thank
now
you.
we're gonna move on to Ashley's. Ashley's doing ultramarine turquoise, cobalt green pale, spring green, permanent green, and Taylor green blue shade.
Hello. Thank you,
Hi.
Ethel. That's right. So over here, I've got just my swatches. We'll call these the boring swatches and these the exciting swatches. But I've got ultramarine turquoise. And this one is almost, it's like the sibling to phthalo turquoise that granulates. So this one is low staining, whereas phthalo turquoise, as I think somebody else talked about, is highly staining. I don't think that's the proper terminology, but we don't care. It's fine. John's not here. This is granulating, whereas phthalo turquoise is not granulating. Let's see. It's transparent and it has an excellent light fast rating. This one is cobalt green pale. And the tube I have is old. It's like 15 years old. And I'm noticing it's actually slightly different than the swatch. So I'm not sure how accurate mine is compared to what I'm seeing here on the dot part, but it's still very cool color. Look at this granulation. That's super cool. So this is a series 3. It's non-staining, granulating, it's transparent, and it has an excellent light fast rating. And then this is spring green, series 3, low staining. It does not granulate. However, over here, I have kind of given it some texture with some water, just flicking. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Just flicking some water as paint's drying. It's just something I like to do to create some texture. If you don't want texture, maybe don't do that. This is permanent green. Also over here, this layer level. This is kind of what I like to do when I'm emulating a sky and like fields. It's just kind of a fun abstract way and I don't have to wait for anything to dry because I leave a white space between the little layers. So this is permanent green, and I added a little bit of permanent green light under it just to show you the difference between the two. And then the last one is phthalo green blue shade. I always put BS under it. It makes me giggle. So that's a series one. It's high staining, does not granulate. It's transparent, and it has an excellent light fast rating. So those are the colors, and kind of in the order, same order
Awesome.
as over here. So,
I was
thank
thinking,
you.
Ashley, and be happy to share to our audience here that you actually take notes like every Thursday. Ashley has journaled every session, and so that tells you why her journal here has a date. You want to do
This
just a
is
short scan?
Yeah, this is
of
since
what you have?
October. This one's been going since October. It's almost done, but I've got like 3 of these. I've learned so much doing this, and it's just a really cool way to look back on all the different artists and all the cool colors. Thank you, Ethel.
Welcome. That's the beauty of coming to Thursday Live. You get to see artists and their personal and unique ways of connecting with colors. I think it's been like, especially for this year, since John introduced to us our interactive color map, our Thursday Live has been made more richer, because on Thursday Live now you don't just get to see the swatching. John, of course, will always be there, but we have with you different artists show how they do the swatch and take it further by applying it onto a piece. So speaking of art piece, we can have a look at Rick's piece. It's almost done. In fact, it looks done already.
Well, it's getting close.
Okay, and just before, after Rick's, we're gonna put in Gabriel's camera. He will help us with a few more colors.
Well, like I said, it's getting close. What I'm trying to do is referencing this photo, the painting here, and then working on the piece I'm doing here. I'm really working with values and using these beautiful greens to create the lights, the darks, and the middle values. And the next thing that I will do probably after this event today, I have the masking of the trees in the background. So I will lift all of the masking and they'll be stark white, but then I'll go and I will give the trees more forms and more depth, and take the branches all around and try to create a little bit more three-dimensional look to it. So this right here, it's really interesting to just use these greens to create a visual effect and a nice painting. So that's where we are right now.
Thank you, Rick.
You're very
So
welcome.
Rick,
Yes.
did I hear that when you take your masking off, what hues are you going to use on those branches or those trunks and all? Are
What
those
hue?
going to,
Go ahead.
sorry, go on. No, I've asked my question. I just babbled.
Okay. Well, this is like a little rigger brush that I use.
Right.
And I really love the lunar blue, which is a deep blue.
Ah,
Let's lay it in. And that will, let me see if I can work with some of that here. Just extending it through there.
okay.
Mm.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to go into something like a pale reddish tones.
Well, but I'm using green. I would love, if you notice this temporary palette, this portable palette,
That's pretty green.
I've taped off other colors, so I won't be tempted to reach and get some of the other colors.
Good
So,
idea.
so anyway, I thought it wasn't the right thing to do to add, more than my 5 colors, except the neutral white.
Okay, if you weren't constrained, would you be tempted to?
I would love to use quinacridone gold, and quinacridone deep gold. I mean, those are 2 of my favorite colors. And sometimes
Yeah.
I overexpose the painting with it. But I'm tempted. I'm tempted. And of course, now the roof is white here, and it may stay white, but as tin on roofs, they'll rust, and so I could come in with a mixture of my reds and make a rust kind of color.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna come back again later. Rick's frame and the rest, Carrie and George. But for now, we have Gabrielle with two
So the
colors.
colors I have today is we've got PG 17, and that is this chromium green oxide, and then PG 50, which is cobalt green. And now chromium green oxide, I'll use that throughout a painting, either maybe in the beginning or in the middle. But typically for the cobalt green, this is kind of when I want to make little areas pop in my painting. So without any further ado, actually, both of these have great light fastness. And the cobalt green is a granulating, and the oxide is not. And the oxide is transparent, and the cobalt green is semi-transparent. So without any further ado, I've got this nice little barn scene going on. And we're gonna do a little bit of negative painting with a good attitude. And we're gonna cut around these figures. And I'm making this tying in this middle ground to this foreground. Okay. And so I'm just gonna paint, just going over here from one side to the next. I work my way on over. So this has nothing else in it, but it's all about how you're holding that brush. Typically my beginning students are painting like it's a pencil, and we want to make different marks with this lovely brush. Okay, so we got a sense of some patterns and some lovely rhythms, and a good way to think about that is maybe kind of like the way music is played. So now I don't have to go and add any color to this per se. I'm gonna go less water and thicker paints. Okay, so I'm making this bottom half of this area. And now I'm gonna give one nice little angle going leading into my dudes here. Okay, do you see how this goes from thick to thin? And what we want in this story, what I'm doing is I'm creating this lovely goodness. Now, some of you want to do these little sparkles in water, which is great, but you can also do them for ground coverage. And so it's all about speed and just really getting in there. Now, I am going to change this up as it's coming to the foreground, and I'm going to add just a little bit of ultramarine, not much. I'm not going to get too crazy, but I need this foreground here just to be a titch darker. Okay, and I'm going to do a little bit of spritzing right down here to create some kind of texture in the foreground here. Okay, like so, just like that. And now I'm gonna so that was all the green chromium oxide except for this bottom part with a little bit of cobalt blue. And now I'm gonna take this Escoda Perla, and I'm going to grab some cobalt green for this guy's poncho he's wearing. So I want to make this poncho kind of like pop. So I'm gonna add just like some little stripes, and you could probably do this with your next guy. You know, maybe you know some of these things like cross over. You know, you could do a shirt like that on a guy that's on a gondola. You know, a cute little striped shirt.
I see that.
But just add a little flare. We're gonna add just a little bit of red next to that green, like so. There we go. We'll
Not
zoom
at all.
in so you can see that. Now it's nice to have a lovely complement, you know, next to your green, right? And that's good for now. We will venture over to Carrie or
Carrie.
George
Thank you,
Papakis.
Gabriel.
You're welcome.
Wow, look at that.
All right, I'm making sure I wasn't muted. So I've been working on this little green bottle, and I've used all of our colors that are in the I used 6. I cheated and used the sap, deep sap, because I needed that dark color in there. So this darkest one is the deep sap, but I've used every other one of those colors in here. So now I'm going to take my scrubber brush. I'm going to do 2 things here. I'm going to take my scrubber brush. So this is an old synthetic that has been used until the end is completely frayed. So then it now becomes a scrubber brush for me. So I have masking on my painting, this little green bottle. If you can see the shiny parts, it's actually a little bit blue tinted. So that's my masking to preserve my whites. Well, what I like to do so that we lose a little bit of that hard edge around those masking lines is take that brush, that scrubber brush, and just kind of push from the middle out where the masking is, and create kind of a little halo around this. It picks up the bright colors in there and then creates a highlight, and it also will help soften that edge a little bit. And that's one of the complaints people have about using masking fluid. So I will continue doing that, but I'm also going to show you, I've got these darks and the midtones and my lights. And like I said, I want to go through and just make sure I pull out the highlights enough so that I have enough of my bright light highlight. And then I'm also going to go in and I'm just going to show you, when you have a monochromatic palette like this, when we're just using all greens like this, I'm going to pop in my complement. I'm going to use a transparent Pyro Orange. I'm going to pop that in right here. I just want to show you how it creates this and it lets us sing by adding that complement in there. And you always want to do it like in 3 places. So I'm going to throw that in at least 1 more place. Anytime you introduce a color, you should always have it in 3 places. And so I'm going to go back now and I'm just going to touch up any highlights that I have with my phthalo yellow green. So that's my brightest green that I'm working with here. But it's neat with these colors, you know, these greens, because we have everything from those turquoisey greens to the bright, and then more of a natural sap green. So we have all kinds of beautiful colors popping in here. But I'll let you move on to the next. What George is.
It's amazing to see how all those 5, 6 greens work as one now on this piece.
Isn't that, and you know, honestly, you can pick a lot of different combinations and make it work. I venture to say any of those any of the colors we've shown today, we could use a combination of them and create a similar, as long as you have, you know, your highlights, your mediums, and your darks. You can create a similar look. And I'm gonna make sure on this one, I'm gonna go around. This is that phthalo yellow green. I'm just gonna go around. I wanna leave that brightness in the middle, so I'm adding water. And go around there. But now it's a point when I've got everything mapped in where I want it in place. It's now just kind of softening lines and then letting it dry so I can take the masking off. And I do paint like this on a large painting. I complete one section at a time, one bottle at a time, one light bulb at a time, and then before I move on. And it gets my values established. I know the painting is working. And I kind of work out my color palette. And it's always good when you start a painting to not start on the thing that is going to be where your eye goes to. So if I was painting this as a whole painting, I would normally start up here on the right hand corner, because that is kind of not necessarily where your eye is going to be going to. You should be drawn somewhere, you know, in the center. That's what we're leading people to. And this one, by having those darks supporting and then having this bright highlight in here and a cooler surrounding by all these warms, that's where we're pulling people into this center section, the viewer. So I always try to start my painting somewhere where I can kind of work out my palette, get my brushes going, and not the area that I want everybody to be looking at.
Awesome. We're gonna come back to Carrie's frame and the rest. Now we'll check George's mountains.
Yeah. Well,
Ew.
it's a sketch. It's a sketch. So the only thing that I am trying to do is create some contrast here, and I used my colors either wet in wet, and you see in the background mountain. I used several techniques from dry brush. You can see the dry brush in several areas, although it is a very small sketch, but I'm using that. And then going from lighter to darker, repeating colors all around. I love what Carrie does, I really do, but I just cannot work in one area at, you know, one period. I go all around the painting. It's a sketch, but even in my more complicated paintings, I work all around, establishing the values and trying to go darker and darker and darker all over. So that's my style. You can see I love the fact that these colors blend together. They mix on my paper like if it were my palette. And in my eyes, that produces a very inviting, a very warm effect. That's what I love. Anyway.
Amazing,
Thanks,
George.
George.
Is Meteora, please, George?
Well, it's not really, it's not this one, but it could have been. It could be Meteor or anything else. It's imaginary, totally imaginary. So I like to paint things like that when I just imagine things. And if I showed you the real thing behind this photo, you would say, okay, it's another thing, it's another church. But as I told you, I like to imagine things. I like to create my own world. I don't want to copy things. I don't want to be, you know, like a slave of what I see. I want to give my own interpretation, my own reality out of that.
It's a beautiful word.
Thank you, George.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now we move back with Ashley's frame.
Hi, I'm just playing right now, trying to see what we can get. I did grab my dot card and try out that cobalt green pale. And it is a little bit different than the one that I have in a tube. It's almost like the particles are bigger. And I don't know if I can like zoom in on those. It's this one right here. You see those big particles? It's got that almost like that lunar black style granulation. So that's kind of a fun color, and I would love to play with it more and see what I would apply that to. Really, really cool. So here's all my colors kind of melding together and playing. May I point out ultramarine turquoise on my palette here? Look at it separating. It's that one right here. Starting to see like that ultramarine. What are the pigments? I should have looked up what the pigments are in that. It's probably got a yellow, I'm thinking. Yeah, and we don't ever appreciate our water, but can we just appreciate this?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all I have for today.
Ashley, my cats appreciate my water all the time.
Good thing
Very
good thing
sober.
we've done away with the cadmiums, right?
Cheers.
Let's check if Anna swatched
Oh.
along. You did? Okay.
No, I was trying to sketch what you guys are doing, but I did previously sketched some greens and blues, but I'm not sure where. I think this is more or less what I have for today. Maybe I think what I've seen most is the cascade green and all that. So I did post them like you requested, Ethel, and you're tagged. So these are sketches. This is my preliminary before I make the final ones. And like everybody, I like to see all the info. This is not final. There are some things that I will change. But you can see Cascade Green in just at a glance. You see the name, the series. I'm not convinced about those suns supposedly to do light fastness. So you can see that it's very light fastness and it's somewhat staining. And this is supposedly to represent granulation. They're like little grains. I know. And it's semi-transparent. I'm sorry?
Lovely your granulation.
I know it's the granulation. And so I'm including because I really like this CIE lab. And so I'm including the quadrant. It's there and more or less where it's located. So you can see that
Anna, is that like the pie? It looks like on my screen, it looks like a pie. Oh, pizza.
It is a pie. So if you see, it's the quadrant that represents the cool colors. So it's the greens. So for example, if you look at this one, this is I think it would be the coolest. This is the coolest quadrant. So you can see that some are like here, you can see this is in the warm quadrant or warmest quadrant.
Interesting how you illustrate it.
So yeah, so I'm experimenting and just doing that. So this is more or less to visualize that. And then this is mask color and gradient. So this is what I'm working at. But I really wanted to like follow you guys. I don't have any of Ashley's color, but I'm trying to follow with my own greens and just doing follow you and have a little fun with everybody sketching and painting. So it's very fun.
That
Thank
even
you.
is inspiring, Anna. Like John would always say, every artist has own. You are master of your own, and love to see the way you use the image of a pie or pizza cut. That's how I see it.
Yes. Well, it's the quadrant where it belongs. The coolest, warm and warmest. So just to pinpoint where they are.
Perfect explanation.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too, Gio. It was awesome. I loved your pencil sketch, how simple. And so I'm trying to make it more simple. So it's visual and it's at a glance, all the information that I need.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
We still have like around 3 minutes before we show everybody's frame in one frame. Anyone else who's watched today? Bill, did you? Not today, but Bill. Erkin or I see Constance? Anyone else? Okay. Maybe
No,
next.
Ethel.
Okay, that's okay. We can do next week. So what more to share, Anna?
Oh no, I was just preparing for the screen share. Sorry.
I'd like to share
All the
this
greens.
color wheel.
Okay, Gabriel.
Oh,
Oops. Okay, let's put Gabriel's spotlight there.
So when you're adventuring out there, and you're using a new green, it wouldn't hurt to have your color wheel. And so the green I'm using is in this range. This is a harmony color wheel. And the nice thing is it tells me the two colors that can be, if this is the star of the show, if you're at a play, then these are our other actors and supporting actors. Then we have this wonderful area here that can complement this area. And so when I was thinking about using these greens, I was thinking about this blue mountain and which blue I would use for the sky. And then look at this yellow. This yellow is in this field out in here. And then since there's the red, I put a red handkerchief in my person's hand. And so also in a painting, it's good to have the figures doing something. Maybe this guy is trying to get the attention of the dog, just taking a break from a day's work on the farm. And so these little things kind of help. At least it helps me, if I'm having new blue here, so this would be like cerulean blue, then these would be supporting actors for that blue, or these would be nice complementaries to put into your color. Because sometimes you feel like your painting is off if maybe you're starting to put something like this in your painting, when really you just need something simple like these reds. And I hope that was helpful.
Today. Yeah, thank you,
that
Gabriel.
is awesome, Gabe.
Okay, so let's have a look at everyone's artwork. There is Carrie's, George's, Rick's is there, Gabriel, Ashley's. Isn't it beautiful? All the greens and turquoise at work. Different interpretations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also beautiful.
This
Thanks for joining us, friends.
For those who just entered Zoom and our friends on Facebook stream, we always have our Thursday live recap. So this will be up on our newsletter. If you haven't subscribed, please do so that you won't miss any updates or any Thursday live recaps. Tomorrow we will have our guest all the way from India. It's Praful Hodekar. And I think since John is in Asia this month, actually, I think he will be able to join us, hopefully. Okay, once again, thank you, Gio and Letty. Thank you, Gabriel.
Thank you.
Nick, Carrie, George, Ashley. And we'll take this opportunity to invite our friends to follow these brand ambassadors here. Follow their Instagram and Facebook account, just so you won't miss any updates and workshops and inspiration daily, almost like daily inspiration through their posts. So let's do a gallery view. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ethel. Thank you,
Bye.
Gio.
Tomorrow.
Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Share.